everybody. Welcome to Looking Deeper with Denise King Francisco and our welcome back from the brink of death friend and soulmate, Sandra Herrick. It's good to have everybody with us tonight, wherever you are around Grandmother Earth. If you are hooked into Spreaker, please do join us in the chat room. The chat room is open, and we're open for discussion, and we want to get the show on the road, as they say. We've missed Sandy. Sandy, how are you? That's what everybody wants to know. How the heck are you?
Oh my God, how the heck am I? Well, first and foremost, I'm deeply grateful in all simplicity that I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank everybody right off at the top for your amazing support, your incredible prayer, and the goodwill that you have sent, and the cards galore. Thank you for everybody that sent the cards, the texts, the emails, the any modality of social media that has been like, oh my God, I didn't even know that was available. And I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people just really sending me the kindness of their generosity to heal and be better. First and foremost, you all need to know it works. And it works like some kind of offering as a hammock to kind of lay down in, because everybody else is willing to hold you for a while. So thank you for holding me. Don't give up too soon. I'm still in the swing part. But here I am. And I'm grateful. What's new in your life, Dana?
Well, it's interesting. I told Todd that you were in my dreams the other night and looking every bit as sassy and Scorpio as ever. And it was interesting. I told him that I could see your ribs and they were bionic. In tattooing, it's called biomechanical tattooing. And I was looking at your body and looking at these stainless steel, incredibly shiny ribs and these amazing, almost steampunk rivets. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, she's coming back stronger than ever.
Well, you must have looked at my x-rays, because that's what they look like.
No kidding.
No kidding. For everybody that hasn't known what happened, I was on the biggest horse I had ever been on in my life, and I've been around horses for over 30 years. I've owned them, I've taken care of them, I've ridden in all sorts of saddles and bareback and up hills, down hills, and I've fallen and tripped and stumbled. I have never once had a broken bone. And I decided to get back in the saddle, more or less, and just casually said, so, if you're going to come back and ride, what horse will you be putting me on? And I had gone out for a ride a couple of weeks before and loved being on this great big white horse. It was like normal. Oh my God, me on a white horse. It was good. And then I went back again, and just before I got to the next ride, I had a premonition that I was going to fall. I mean, I literally had a premonition. But there was that place, and I know you know this place, like, wait a minute, no. I can ride through this, around this, or over this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, am I making this up? All that stuff. And sometimes premonitions are there for you to see it's going to happen no matter what, or to show you that there's something there and you have choice. And this was one of those things where, well, if it didn't happen on the horse, it would happen someplace else. It was a destination, not just a destiny, a destination. And so to fall off a horse at 17 hands high, I'm 5'3", and the horse was bigger than me at its belly. I can't see over its back where you put the saddle on. That's how tall the horse is.
Mm.
And to fall, it was one of those things where the horse just went, what's that? Step to the right. And I dropped. I literally dropped. And I'm saying this in that place because we're going to talk tonight about where have any of us dropped or been dropped in life? How do we bounce back? What happens when you land hard or you're thrown hard, and life stops. One of the things I do want to share was I heard my bones break. I heard it. What was more important when I started to move was I couldn't breathe. And I saw George Floyd's face in front of mine. Wow. Still brings tears to me to say that. Where he was like, breathe, breathe. And I knew what it felt like for him to die. And I thought I was going to die because I could not breathe. I had a collapsed lung. 8% of my lung collapsed. And to know that I can move, I'm moving, I see things are moving around me, but I'm suffocating right before someone's eyes. It was a moment I will never forget. And to have that man be in front of me as spirit or symbol of understanding, oh my God, I'm asking for help, I'm reaching out, and I'm suffocating. It's one of those moments of disbelief and wonder, because you wonder what's going to happen, and you disbelieve anything's happening in this moment at all. So there is that moment where all of a sudden my body inhaled. I could hear the person that I was riding with, and you know her, you met her. You and Lily and I went there, Christina, and that dusty dog, and saw her on a very tall horse. And it was one of those things where she kept saying, you lost your breath, it'll come back. You lost your breath, it'll come back. And I sipped some air. And I use this as a metaphor for when we're sucker punched, or when in our lives right now, anyone, anywhere that has lost your breath or doesn't know what to do to catch a breath. It's like that place of how do you sip air? I had to sip air and realize, okay, it's in. I'm not breathing, but I'm sipping. And it brought a relief to, okay, I'm going to live, I hope. Have you ever had an experience similar to that you'd like to share?
Well, the only thing that I can compare to that is, as a young girl falling out of a tree. And landing flat on my back. I was up in a plumeria tree stringing a lei of flowers for some visitors that were coming to the island to visit my family. And I was up there doing what I did a lot up in the plumeria tree, stringing those flowers, having a great grand old time. And the next thing I knew, I was falling out of the tree and landed on my back, and I couldn't breathe. And I remember gasping for air. And for me, I remembered, thinking about my goldfish. That's what came to my mind.
Wow.
Was my goldfish. Because I was a kid. I was like 10, 11 years old. And being a fish out of water is the only thing I could compare it to. And was I going to die like a fish would?
Wow.
But what I didn't have that you had were 11 cracked ribs and 3 broken ribs. That's astonishing.
Well, you should. Okay, thank you for everybody. Let me take you down memory lane. I have a warped sense of humor on occasion, and it comes out at some of the most interesting times. Well, my humor came out as I was going in the ambulance and getting into the hospital, and I was even thinking, who inside me is getting to talk? Because it's like, my point of view right now is rather fascinating. And it really was. It was like, well, if I take it serious, I think I'll get in trouble. So I'm in the hospital getting the x-rays, and I want to say a shout out to Sue Madewell, because she miraculously happened to be at the barn when they brought me back in and they got me. I was out there alone for over a half hour, just sitting on the grass wondering if they wouldn't live, because they had to get the horses back and come back and get me. And then to the hospital and into the hospital. And I got to the x-ray department, and I watched the technicians, because now you can see the x-ray instantly.
Right.
Look at the x-ray, look at me, look at the x-ray, talk to each other, go get a doctor, come back, take another x-ray, look at the x-ray, talk to the doctor. The doctor looks at me, and I just said, so pick up sticks. What do we got over there?
Uh-huh.
And the doctor literally said, we do not know what we're looking at.
Wow.
We don't know what we're looking. We can't make this out. And because the fractures were so overwhelming, they whatever that was, but there's that place of knowing that my body was about to crumble. And I put this again in that place of sometimes this is my bone. These are my bones. I've never broken a bone in my life. I heard my bones break or crack. I lost my breath. I caught breath. And I was wondering, if I die, how do I die? If I live, how do I live? All at the same moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that place of realizing they're looking at something that is inside me. And this is where this phenomena started. They started saying to me, right there in the technician of the x-ray room, you don't look like you have any damage, but something's going on with you that's pretty serious. You don't sound like it. You don't look like it. That's what happened with the photograph in the bed. It's like nobody could believe. You don't look like you're hurt. You don't act like you're hurt. But finally, the doctors kept saying, you are mutilated inside. And it makes me think of what do we do with ourselves emotionally, too, when we're mutilated inside, or something is so broken emotionally or psychologically, and we don't see it, so it's not recorded and it's not honored in some way. That's pretty profound.
It's very profound. It's very profound because we can look okay on the outside.
Exactly.
And literally be dying on the inside.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Broken, shattered, dying, pummeled.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it takes somebody else to point that out to us, just like the doctor pointed out to you.
Exactly. And even for me, it's I'm going to jump around a little bit here because when my bones were fractured, but they didn't start breaking until I was in the hospital. So they already had information about me, but on my second night, after I had done laps, everybody's like, yay, look at her go, and oh my God, okay, so I turned 73 on Monday, but being 72 and walking in a hospital with a walker really makes you think about your age.
Yep.
Because I know that there ain't much that makes me look like that, but it was like, oh shit, I don't want to see my shadow.
I got the text message. That's right. I got a lot of them. You may or may not remember all of them, but I got a lot of them.
I was on drugs.
Yes, you were.
And it was like, oh, my feet are shuffling, and my back is slumped over, and I'm like, sounding like click, 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 click.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, no, Sandy, this is not the way you're going to go out. No. And, but because my body was so fractured, the bones, as I would, get in bed or get up or, any kind of movement, two broke. And here is that point. I want to bring it out again because right now we're in a situation in our world where who believes what it is that you're being told, or how do you tell somebody something that you know about yourself that they don't believe? Does that make sense?
Perfect sense.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm being lifted. I'm being assisted to get out of the bed to go to the bathroom. Okay. I've got a good sense of humor. I've got a good mood. I'm madly in love with the nurse. Her name is Cole. She's got attitude. She's got purple hair. She's sassy. She's dramatic. And as she's helping me up to get to the walker, I stop breathing and just say, Cole, don't move me. I think I'm about to die. To have somebody listen to you and not go, come on, you can do it, what do you mean, or da-da-da-da, or challenge, or debate. It was like, I said, this is a new pain. I don't know this pain. This is new. I don't know this. And it was so painful and so threatening that I hovered in that posture for almost 40 minutes because she got me my drugs. I took my drugs. And then she had to call the doctor to prescribe medication to give me more drugs to even get me down. And she said to me, you have to be your own advocate. When they come to see you tomorrow, be your own advocate. And why I'm saying this now to everybody is right now, we need to be our own advocate. We need to be able to, this is such a prime time in how do you speak what it is that's going on with you. You say it in a way that you are honest about it and that you hold your identity rather than have somebody take your identity away from you or shift it. And it's like all this metaphysical energy was coming at me from this nurse with, you have to advocate for yourself. Doctors don't always listen to the patient. Have you ever had that happen?
Oh, a couple of times. Well, as you know, with Todd. Yeah, he's sitting right here, and all I hear from behind me is, uh-huh, mm-hmm, yep, mm-hmm.
Staggering.
Yeah.
Scary staggering.
Scary staggering.
And it's one of those things where I knew what was happening in my body to the point where I could describe it, feel it, and it's just like your dream where I could look inside myself and see it and tell them. But the doctors were like, they already had the x-rays the next morning, and this doctor came in, a blonde woman, hands on hip, looking at me, and I'm telling her, and it was like, we have the x-rays, you have fractured bones, we're not going to do an operation, this is new. And then to finally say to her, you will be taking new information so that whatever's happening to me right now is taken care. I mean, it's not about having an attitude, it's about staying honest and overriding the denial everybody has around you.
Mm-hmm.
When they took the pictures, they came back later with another doctor, that female standing next to them, and said, you have 2 broken ribs. We need to do surgery. We're going to go in. We're going to do that. And I looked at her and I said, oh, will you be in the operating room with us? And she goes, well, if it's today, but not tomorrow. And I said, oh, what a shame. We've been bonding.
Oh, you are a Scorpio.
I mean, it's like, and interestingly enough, the next day when they did operate on me, exactly what you described in your dream is what they had done to those 2 ribs.
Okay.
They're wrapped in metal, and they are then almost like stitched. You see stitches around that metal. And the doctor came in, and exactly as I feel like I was going to die, he said, these 2 ribs started floating, and one snagged your lung, and the other was headed for your heart.
Mm. Wow.
And this is like, I want everybody to know we know things about ourselves, but do we have the ability and the confidence to say what it is we know? Not hoping someone will believe us. Knowing that we have to believe ourselves. Truly believing ourselves that the information we're getting is important, that the feedback our body is giving us is intuitive. It inserts a reality that supersedes our fantasy or our drama.
Mm-hmm. Well, and sometimes it heightens our reality and our perception of reality. It clears away
Yes,
the debris and the clutter and cuts right down to the chase. And,
exactly.
whether it's a physical trauma or an emotional trauma or a spiritual trauma, there is something, and sometimes it can feel really calm, even in the trauma. There's a calm that comes with the knowing.
You just hit the nail on the head because there was no drama from me. There was no hysterics. There was no crying. There was absolutely no thrashing. It was these are the facts.
Mm-hmm.
These are the facts. These are the facts. It does take away. How do I want to say this? It gives you a resource to communicate that is beyond your own ego.
Yes.
So that facts are just there.
Yes.
And again, I think it's important for us to develop that ability or be aware of that our ability that when we look at our emotional work or spiritual work or the information in our meditation or when we do our healing work, that there is truth inside us that wants to talk to us. Do we trust ourselves when we receive it?
Right. Well, oftentimes we'll trust ourselves, and then sometimes we feel compelled to share the information with somebody who may negate it, or somebody who may not negate it but make us question what it is that we know.
Absolutely. And so therefore being your own advocate, maybe if you, well, this happened after they sent me home. The third bone broke after I was home. And it happened over a little period of time. And my friend was here from California, Grace, and all of a sudden my shoulder bone felt like I broke my collarbone. It was like, wait a second, there's something rolling around inside me. And it was one of those sensations of, I don't understand this, my body's moving. And the pain, and I thought I was having a heart attack. And it was like it came and went, and I'm finally sitting down at the dining room table, and the pain was so intense, I thought I was having a heart attack. That I just, because that took my breath away also. Like, Grace, help me. Help, Grace, help me. I think I'm having a heart attack. And she saw me with my head on the table out.
Mm-hmm.
She saw me dead.
Mm-hmm.
In that pause of, again, something now else has happened. Something else is breaking. And it's another sensation. And got rushed to the hospital, the ambulance, the this or that, and exactly what you said. The clarity of when I came out, were the facts. I mean, the ambulance people came, and all I it was like they asked me questions. I don't ask me anything I can't answer. I'm just going to tell you everything and write it down. And you goddamn in that vehicle.
Just keep moving, people. Just keep moving.
The vehicle.
Well, what occurs to me as I'm listening to you recount your experience is that you're describing having many deaths without dying all within one event or caused by one event because it was a death and then a rebirth, a death, and okay, I think I'm there, and yet another death, and here we go again. We're not quite through that dark night of the soul. We're still tumbling around in there. I think I've got it. Well, nope, no, I don't. And there's something about those moments for all of us when we think we have a grip on it, when we think we're coming to the top side of everything, and all of a sudden we have a slip backward, back into the dark night or back into the troubles that can become disheartening. And one of the things about life and death is that it takes a lot of strength to be alive. It takes a lot of courage to be alive. And at those times, the courage and strength that we may have mustered can be challenged to a degree that the setback lasts forever. Bouncing back is not guaranteed, everyone.
No. Bouncing is not even guaranteed.
Exactly. Yeah.
I hit the ground. I did not bounce. I rolled.
Yeah.
It was like,
Thud. Uh-huh.
And you said said it so beautifully where there's that place of any setback still questioned my life.
Yes.
Any new sensation questioned my ability to survive. They put a hose, a tube inside me to drain. Did Tom have those?
Oh, several, yes.
Yeah. Oh, those are pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
And to have them extracted and now have a hole in my body. And, days later, it started to purge. And I'm looking down at myself, and I'm gushing liquid down my body. Like, it doesn't... off to the hospital, back to the ER. It's amazing what the hospital or the doctors don't tell you about what you're going to experience.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also amazing how Spirit doesn't tell you what you're going to experience when you're born.
Or in those moments, well, it is a moment of grace, but it's also a moment of faith when everything begins to evolve and unfold. And the only certain thing that you have in any given moment, it's what you said in the beginning of the show, was that you were able to sip air. And you had faith in the air that you were able to sip in. And sometimes all we have is a sip of faith or a sip of grace that we can hold on to when we find ourselves having those deaths without dying. And sometimes it's the only thing that does get us through is the sip until we're able to take in more. And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's such a profound time to live and die and live again right now. And when you texted me the other day and said, yeah, let's talk about bouncing back, I thought to myself, well, I don't really think she probably bounced when so she's not using a play on words.
No.
So when I was thinking about what you were talking about, sometimes it is like a bouncing ball. Sometimes we're up and then we drop back down. We go up, we drop back down, and eventually we hit a plateau. Right. And sometimes in the middle of all of that, we can fold our cards and say, enough is enough. Right. I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore. It's too uncertain. It's too painful. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. Who am I going to be after I've snapped back to this? Who am I going to be? Or do you feel you're different now than the woman you were a month ago?
Amen, hallelujah, and oh my God.
Uh-huh. In what ways? See, I'm being you now. I'm being you now. These are the questions you ask me. How are you different now, Sandy?
Well, let me take a little moment here.
Okay.
I'm more aware of something in the life-death experience of the fragility of my strength. I am very familiar with my strength. I'm very familiar that my strength has endured something. What's different is with my strength that there is a patience with my strength toward me. And there is a clarity in my strength for me that can't go back to I will sacrifice myself for anyone.
Can you hear my feet doing a happy dance? I'm kind of doing the little What was that gum that was sold back in the 60s or something? There was a shuffle. Chewing gum shuffle. Yeah,
The chiclets.
I'm doing that little shuffle over here underneath my desk.
Yeah. Well, hallelujah.
So, what you're
And
describing to me then, Sandra, is that you've learned a little bit of the importance of loving yourself, like unconditionally. Strong, kick-ass broad, or, pretty strong, or lately maybe not as strong as I want to be, but you know what? I'm loving all of me.
oh, yes, and the fragility is in seeing how strong the fragility is, rather than thinking the fragility is vulnerability, therefore it's weakness.
Ah, it's tea-berry gum. Carla Joe just chimed in, tea-berry gum, the tea-berry gum shuffle.
Oh my God, that's hysterical.
Yeah. So, in loving yourself and, taking a look at different aspects of yourself, um, that, the moments of allowing for different degrees of your strength to reveal itself, what does that mean for you on a day-to-day basis? How do you accommodate that now? Are you still, you're a woman who, and I've spent enough time with you, um, in a lot of situations, that the minute you get up in the morning, as soon as you've had a little sip of Java, you are, pardon my French, everybody, you are like balls to the wall and hair blowing in the wind. And you don't stop until probably the rest of us have already dropped into bed. Has that changed at all?
Yes, ma'am.
In what way?
Well, the balls to the wall. How do I want to say this? I want to be able, I want to be able to experience what it is that my strength has taught me so that my vulnerability can enhance inside me.
What has your vulnerability taught you about you?
Well, what it's enhancing is to bring to the damage, to bring to the one that would sacrifice me in any situation since I'm 2 years old or on. To take the inventory, because now, first and foremost, I want to backtrack here just for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's major medicine for me to acknowledge this happened on a horse. It didn't happen in a car. Everybody was like, you're up in the sky painting your house, the ladder, you're gonna fall. I didn't fall from the ladder, so it's not horse, it's not house medicine, it's not car medicine, it's horse medicine.
Mm-hmm.
Horses are in my life
Mm-hmm.
profoundly.
Yes.
In that medicine of that soul and spirit. And so to have the horse do this makes me even get teared up. I knew when I saw the premonition that whatever was going to happen was bigger than me. Biggest horse I've ever been on.
And I saw you ride one 2 years ago. Was it, no, 3 years ago maybe, out at Christina's place, the Dusty Dog. And that was a big boy.
No, I wasn't on that one. Christina was. I was with you and Magic Man.
No, at your place, Sandy. We were out at the Dusty Dog Ranch, me, you, and Lily, and Lily fell in love with that little dog, or the
I
goat.
didn't get on the horse. I don't remember getting on the horse.
You did, because you were absolutely fabulous to watch.
Okay.
And as I was watching you and you got done, I said, the way that you were able to collect that horse, such a gigantic, and it was a dark horse, a great big dark horse, the way you were able to collect that horse, such a big horse that many people could not ride. And I remembered watching you go around the paddock out there, and I was just mesmerized at the way that you could get this horse to do what it is that you needed it to do, or that you were requesting from it. And yeah, you and I have ridden horses together here at my place with my horses. But I thought that was a big horse. So the horse that you're describing, this white horse, is even bigger than the one that I saw you ride.
The horse that I got on was named Ice.
Wow.
Um, Beyond belief, my muscle so back to the vulnerability of it. What I'm learning is that there is this core inside me, horse medicine, the core inside me for the rest of my life lovingly has compassion without self-sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And also to know that even in my self-sacrifice, that it would then be a interruption. Why would I sacrifice myself to something rather than give myself to something that Spirit gave me, and I would give it away to somebody else?
Hmm.
And not allow them to discover their own. And I'm saying this almost as a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-year-old child learning how to prolong and indulge the need to suffer as the bar for being a good girl or a understanding human being, or you have to wait for love because they don't, you do. You know more, you understand. You have to give them more space. All that stuff. I know nobody out there right now is shivering, but we are trained how to endure pain.
Yes.
We are conditioned and then told we're good and better maybe if we tolerate the pain.
Yes. Pious even.
Yeah. And that child invests in the I can, see, I will, therefore, waiting for love or hoping for love or being told that this is even how you get love. And it crushes us. It breaks our bones.
Mm.
It makes us sacrifice ourselves in ways that, unfortunately, the person telling us, the parent or the adult or whatever, did not have the skills to let us know that you can be self-sufficient without being arrogant or righteous or greedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of our friends are in the chat room right now and just wanted you to know Audra, Sonia, Carla Joe, of course, Lily and Tara, Danielle, all in the chat room chatting her up about this.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you for your love and support, all of you.
Mm-hmm.
There's that place where self-sacrifice and I've even said it. You know, I'm letting in my own life people know some line has been crossed. I said this to you because it's what I say. It's like, you know, in my relationships with this, I'm dangerous because I don't know where my own line is.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever that line is in the sand, I know when I see it. I know when it's drawn. I know, you know, but there are lines. I don't know where they are. And this breakage or this self-sacrifice or this tolerance to suffering or pain or self-sacrifice, and I'm saying this on the grand scale of naivety and conditioning, not on aren't I just wonderful, I can do that. It's that vulnerable naivety that we develop that becomes a pattern that deceives us as we grow older and disturbs us as we grow older. That line, I got thrown down on top of it. There it was. The horse moved. I got thrown on it, and it took my breath away. To let me know, if I move, if I cross this line, I am dead. Something's killing me. Something could die. And each time the bones broke, it was like, oh my God, if somebody says, go ahead, you can do it, but you can do it. Just do what I say. Come on, trust me, you can do it. Just do it. No, don't. I can't. This is new. This is new. And trust that in this newness, I don't know what's happening. I know it's happening. That's a very profound thing to say. I don't know what's happening. I just know it's happening. And let's pause until we discover what it is. When I had the assumed heart attack, all day long, I'm in the ER. All day long, x-ray after x-ray. Faber comes in, and nurse practitioner, doctor, practitioner specializing in cardiology, right there. I mean, even telling the doctors in my care, she can't have any more x-rays. Something else has to happen. They send me home saying, something's brewing, but we don't know what it is. You're going to the hospital to see your surgeon on Monday. It's like, I'm telling you, I have broken bones, my shoulder. Only on Monday did they finally take new x-rays from different angles, where the doctor came in at the very end of the day and said, thank God we took this new one, because every single x-ray here shows nothing. This one, from this new angle, the afterthought, exactly what you're describing. You have a new broken bone.
Mm.
And we can't do anything about it. It has to find its way back. What I did in that moment, and I want everybody to hear this, I leaned over and put my hand on that doctor and said, you have no idea how deeply relieved I am that you are telling me what I have told all the authorities that didn't validate me, that I was right. Thank you. And it's that place of knowing I didn't give up on me, and I didn't give my power away to say they know better for me. Can you hear my dog barking?
I can. Ralph is on it.
The coyotes must be singing, and she's got it going on.
Aww.
Yeah, she's been amazing. She's been amazing. So there's that place of when we advocate for ourselves, or we not go to her and see if I can rescue her a little bit. When we go to that place inside ourselves that has the wisdom, our real wisdom, how do we keep ourselves connected to it rather than be banished, denied? Hey, dog, how you doing? What's out here? Oh my God, it's so exciting. Okay, fine. She's in. Hi. Oh, well, whatever it is, it's outside. You're inside. Yes. Oh, good girl. Oh my God, she looks like the hound dog from down south. Oh my God, you're so busy. You're good. Thank you. Speaking of dogs, how is yours?
Oh, good. He's laying here listening to yours. He's kind of all of a sudden peeking up over his cushy blankets, going, "Who's the chick?
Who's the chick?" Right?
Who's the Southern Bloodhound?" That's right.
She's a big girl from the south. she's got her head in the air. Her lips are pinched. She's like, I am howling at the moon.
And Gabriel is laying in his blankies, licking his lips, looking over this way.
Easy. Settle. Oh, listen to you growl. Boy, am I feeling safe with you. Okay. Easy. Gentle. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah, this is serious.
So she's feeling the presence of Samhain, of All Hallows, approaching there in the nook of the mountain.
Oh my God. I'm going to leave her to it,
Well, very similar to you. I think a lot of us find our boundary and our line when we finally decide that we don't have to equate being loved or having love by how much we're willing to just give away.
Right.
Because for a lot of people, they feel that they're worthy of love based on how much they give.
Right.
And give and give and give. And the problem with that is that you usually end up giving to the what I call the proverbial people known as the black hole
Right.
that aren't ever going to be given enough anyway. And so eventually you discover that. And I think that that usually comes with some miles on the odometer of life.
Right.
And when you decide that, you know, this, my love or my attention or my whatever is worth more than what I continue to give away, that for me is drawing a line. And, you know, the other line that I draw is when, and you and I are both like this, I think I can speak for the both of us, when we see somebody who is not capable of defending themselves, we are very capable of drawing a line on their behalf, which is, you know, something that a lot of us find it easier to draw that line on behalf of others versus for ourselves. But eventually we come to decide that either we're going to live or they're going to live.
Right.
Whatever that means.
Right.
Have you ever had that where you have to say, I'm worthy of living and it's me or it's them?
Yes. And it's that place, and I say this because I have literally had to defend my life several times to the point where, you know, is near them, and or I'm in the mountains and something's happening, or within a relationship, it's like, wait a second, if I'm not careful right now, even in the name of love, I will die.
Uh-huh.
And I think that that's a very important issue for all of us. It's like, do you have to sacrifice yourself just because you love somebody? And the answer is no. You can love somebody and choose not to sacrifice yourself. Two different issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Two different, and it's not about being selfish. It's not about being righteous. It's not even about judgment. It's about, wait a second, am I more of a person by letting go, or am I less of a person than letting go? And it's like that. It's not about more or less. It's about what is real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What is the sacrifice I'm making, or even, let's be in the more dramatic pose of what's the sacrifice I want to be seen for, whether it's conscious, subconscious, or overt. Do you see what I'm doing for you, or have you seen what I've done? Will I be praised for, or honored, or loved for what it is that you see me do for you? And that's a slippery slide in there. And again, that goes back to that little child of being trained to be a better person when somebody around you is so horrific, or selfish, or takes from you, and you have to endure it.
Mm-hmm.
And how we have to learn skills that counter the skills that taught us how to endure pain.
Mm-hmm. And for some, I mean, you know, Sandy, the reality of life is that for some people, pain is their story.
Right.
Pain is their autobiography. Pain written by. And that is the story of their life. It continues to evolve or devolve and revolve and ascend. And the theme is all about pain. Because a lot of times people are afraid of, well, who are they going to be if they don't have that? Who am I going to be without that? And who's going to be in my life if that's not my theme song?
True. And do I know how to be aware of what pain is and isn't?
Right.
Not everybody understands that it's pain. I think that's a great topic for some time, Dana. Well, I'm being good, I'm supposed to be sacrificial. Well, I've done well, I'm supposed to, endure. I carry the cross, or I do this, or I do that. Where we've been trained to somehow take on mea culpa, and what does that serve?
Right.
What does that really serve, or what were we taught that serves?
Right. Right.
And that is attacking the innocence of our own goodness. Does God see me? Am I being a devotee? Am I a good person, good boy, good girl? What are the rules of the family? What can I say? What can I say? What can I feel? What can I feel? What's allowed?
Right. Audra is typing in the chat room, what will I have to own in my own life if I don't have the pain story? Boy, if, watching our lives and owning our lives and taking a really good look at our lives is not easy. The beauty of it is that when and I think it's something that we need to do regularly, frankly, is, kind of like take stock and take it as honestly as we can. And maybe we need somebody to help us with our inventory who can give it to us straight. But I think it's a good idea to do that. And, as you said toward the beginning of the show today, the podcast, is that you're not the same person. And some people are afraid of, but if I'm not, I kind of like the person that I am, it serves a purpose, and maybe I'm a little uncomfortable, and I don't know who I'm going to be. I certainly am not the same person I was 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago, maybe even last week. I don't know. But there's a beauty in the continual pattern of growth. It's like the forest, right? It's like the seasons of life. And it seems to me that there are a lot of people that are not only walking on the edge, but that have had one whole leg dangling on the other side in the last year that I know personally. I mean, what about you?
Everybody I know.
Yeah.
I mean that sincerely. Everybody I know. Let's face it, America right now, dangling, we are at the brink of some incredible dimension of time. Yeah. And I'm not even going to address that it's political. It's astrological. It is spiritual. Mm-hmm. It is, the downfall of the Pisceans, the creation of the Aquarian, the end of a world according to any ethics that we've ever known, and which evokes the incredible challenge, the evolution, revolution, the requirement to, we all have to start thinking rather than just assume it's all going to be taken care of.
Right. Getting active. Being activated.
Exactly. Whatever's happening already happened in so many lifetimes. I mean, if anybody wants to know what we're going to look like in the future, we're going to look like Egypt, when it's buried and they're surprised to find it because somebody dug down and go, what's that? Oh my God, it's a lost society.
Right, Planet of the Apes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is, how many thousands of years before this is just, we're underneath whatever it is. And the evolution of something in our consciousness, everything is being broken. The ethics of our society is being broken. The ethics of what we know ourselves to be is being revealed. So everything is being brought to the forefront of the accountability, the responsibility, the interactiveness, the reliability of who am I, not who are they, who am I?
Right. Doing our own work.
Because out there, I'm grateful that everything's being revealed. I'm shocked to see what's being revealed. But just because it's being revealed doesn't mean it hasn't been sitting there. I just haven't been seeing it.
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
So the illusion is being broken. The framework, I think the ribs of America is being broken. So that whatever is going to bounce back, whatever will be coming of the world, because it is the world. I mean, we're in a pandemic where it's not the first time it happened. The plague has been here. I think there's a place inside of us that have become so accustomed to the fact of being comfortable that we're shocked that we're not.
Well, there is a lot of truth to that.
And my generation was born to that. Oh my God, we can all get a home, we can all get a car, we can all, and that isn't happening anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's being ripped out of our hands.
Mm-hmm.
The American dream is no longer just a given.
Right.
And that to me is worth evaluating, worth looking at. How do I make my life rather than just expect it to come to me?
Mm-hmm.
How do I express my life rather than just expect everybody's supposed to understand me? How do I have a conversation with everybody rather than just assume my way is the only way?
Mm-hmm.
What is different in many, many ways inside is the ability to converse. I had a couple come here on my birthday morning to pick up the doves. We had the doves taken to a beautiful, beautiful place that are going to love them and whatnot. And JT was in there, and it's a big story, blah, 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 blah. But they took the doves. And this couple have helped us to develop the flock, and so that it's not so inbred. And so we've known these people now for 14 years. And so I was going to cry, I was going to this, I was going to that, because there go the doves, there goes JT. And they came in and sat down. We had a conversation that before you know it, the wife, she's like, oh my God, my heart just burst open. She's crying. The man is like, I've never really talked like this before. And it was like, Sandy, what are you doing? And I said, the day of chatting is over. There's no time to chit chat when we're talking about how do you really feel, what's going on with you, where's your heart, or who are you as a man today? What's going on with this? I don't even know how the conversation started, but it was so beautiful to feel something evolved, that we're not talking about something, we're talking to each other. We were talking with each other and really listening to each other. And the way Sandy talks with that question, or how that question gets asked of me, it was so beautiful to be in my birthday feeling the birth of some quality of love.
Mm-hmm.
And when I watched the man go in and get the birds, I realized they are being given a very different life right now. They were being set free in a way that they needed to be released. Unicorn Field is going through many dynamics.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And it felt the gift of the birds was they weren't being given away, they weren't being taken away. The gift of their life to me was so deeply appreciated.
Aww.
I'm going to say this story real quick. The bird came to me. Jake came to me because of my brother Tony dying. On his first anniversary of his death, we did a memorial. My sister-in-law went to a butcher and wanted a white dove. He asked, how do you want it filleted or this or that? She goes, no, I want it real. I want it alive. So it turned out to be such a young dove that it didn't quite know how to fly yet. So in the nor'easter, it got blue bats. Bobby caught it, brought it home, and we started a flock of birds by this royal, beautiful, big king dove. pigeon, and his name was Jake. Many years, big story, blah, 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 blah. I have his son because Jake got taken out by a hawk. And as my friend Grace is leaving the house, because she was here for 5 weeks, the cab in the driveway is red with the name Tony on it. Tony's the cab.
Oh my.
All right, so Tony's in the driveway. The birds are about to go out. The guy's in here, and I'm just going, oh, wait a second. So, what's different? It's like real time is like full. It's happening in the driveway. It's happening in the house. It's happening in the backyard. It's like Tony's in the house. Grace calls me later in the day and says to me, Sandy, you won't believe this, but the driver of the car was Tony's wife. Her name is Susie. And she said that she took the business over after he died. And it's like, what? What? Because my brother's wife's name is Susie. And
wow.
Exactly.
Lily's in the chat room, and she just put a big old love heart in the chat stream. Wow.
I'll tell you all about it tomorrow, Lily.
Wow.
And it's that kind of thing where my brain, my mind, my heart, everything was aware of the fact the spirit is so close. We don't always see it, but it always sees us. Always. And that's not new, but it's different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm sipping that in without the fear of, do they know I'm here? Do they trust I'm worthy? Do they know I'm, because, as you know, I'm going to live my life until the day I die.
Yes.
And whatever I've got left to do will be done because I don't want to waste my life.
Mm-hmm. You've always said that since I've known you.
So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And in the respite, in the pause, in this hammock, I don't have to be productive. I have to allow myself to receive to be born, be cradled, learn how to walk, find my stability. Yes, I will get back on a horse. Find how my heart is beating because it didn't get stabbed. My lungs came back. The doctor even said, you had a collapsed lung. And I don't know how it just came back, but it did. So the air found its way in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that this happened even for you, Todd. Miracles happened. And we're shocked that the miracles happened. But the miracles really happened.
Mm-hmm.
And something because of that, it's not that I know what's going to happen, but I know it's happening.
Yeah.
And I think if there's anything, you said it earlier, when, how do we know what's going to happen if I don't have my faith? How do I know if I'm going to be who I am? The truth of the matter is we don't know. We don't know shit. That's the truth of the matter. We don't know nothing other than this moment, this breath, and we can design, we can project, we can dream, we can put our faith, our trust. But we still have to want to participate. And that will bring us to what does happen. We'll be available for it.
Mm-hmm.
And we slip, we stand up, we fall, we move. Are we available?
Mm-hmm.
Everything inside me knows I'm available. So I've always known that. But something broke so that I can be free.
Mm.
And that's the horse medicine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Medicine as only a horse could have delivered it.
As only a horse could have delivered.
I'm curious, Sandy, what was the horse's reaction in that moment?
Because it was so big and so up, I was face down. It was calm. Christina was calm. Her horse was calm. Ice was calm. She got the reins right away. They all just stood there. In my soul, I know the horse was like, you got this.
Mm-hmm.
It was so innocent. I mean, I know that my core, anybody that rides or does any kind of athletics, my core body used to be so intuitively, instinctively connected to the agility of being on a horse bareback that it could go in all sorts of directions, or even on a saddle. And I could ride it, move with it, because the instinct was hairline. I mean, just foof, 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 foof. And I mean, my core, I haven't ridden horses in so long, so my core body doesn't have that intuitive connection. I have muscle memory, but I don't have that core strength to be able to feel it intuitively, like a flicker on their back, and move in that agility. And so when it moved to the side, I sitting there, I saw it, the horse move its head, look to the bushes, see that it heard something because its ears went up. It went straight up in the air, and I went, uh-oh. And it moved over to the right, and because I didn't have that catch with my leg on its right side, it lifted me, and I didn't catch myself to bring myself down to the right. I was still stationary where I was, and now my right leg, was on top of the saddle.
Wow.
And it was all slippery.
Wow.
And there was no way to grab. It was just, interestingly enough, that pivoted my body because my leg was on the saddle, that it pivoted my body. So the point when I impacted, that the side of my body, I mean, everybody, please know, I have 11 cracked ribs, front, side, and back. It's not just straight down in one side. Some are on the side, some are in the front, some are in the back. What I do know, and this is one of those amazing things, what I do know is because they all did that, it relieved my ribs from shocking my spine and jarring my spinal column. My back is not affected at all on my spine.
That's astonishing.
Not 1 ounce of discomfort in my spine.
Wow.
So it took the hit.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, no, you're not going to have a broken back. No, you're not. You're not out of alignment at all.
Wow.
Yeah. So lots of good news around the awe of such an incredible experience to bounce back from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if there's
you bounce back, you got to be slammed down.
We've all been there in the big old takedown, that's for sure. So Sandy, you know, it's always said that whenever we go into an experience like that, we don't come out the same person. And you talked about the fact that you know that you're not the same person. If there's one word or a couple of words to describe who you are in addition to who you've always been, what would those words be?
Available to me.
I love that. I love that.
Why?
Because that, to me, is so succinct. When people ask the question, why did I have to go through that? Why was I subjected to that? From the place of pure victimhood, the words that you just gave, I'm available to me. That's a gift.
Exactly.
That's a gift.
It's also a necessity.
It's a necessity, but it's a gift because it's more than just one-dimensional. From what you've described this past hour or so, it's multi-dimensional.
It really is.
It's active.
It is.
Well, welcome back, San.
Oh, God. And I I mean, and also coming off of opioids to go through withdrawal is also coming back from something to allow myself to feel my body.
Yeah.
To re-engage with my body and find that it is like a baby, figuring out how to stand, figuring out how to be stable, figuring out how to, I mean, I drove the car for the first time the other day, just from here down the post office and back, and I felt like I stole the car. Whee! I got back in time before they found me,
Yep, I know that feeling.
and to come back into reality and find out, I would like to say that I'm grateful, but more so than that I have a life to live. Go ahead and live it.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
I love that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I'm back, and I thank you for the pipe ceremony that you offered, for being there as you've been, and to all the people. I mean, it's just, there's that place where I will get in touch with everybody slowly but surely. But one of the things that in being available to me is to not extend myself in any way. I mean, so many people have asked so much, and it's like, one person, God bless, it was like they came to hug me, and it was like almost killed them. Don't even come in, I got you.
Well, Elise said to me, so have you heard from Aunt Sandy? And I said, Elise, here's a little something about your Aunt Sandy you need to know. When she texts me and says, I'm going into the cave, we will talk later, I don't really know when that's going to be, but I know when she says she's going into the cave and we'll talk later, that's what she means. And I honor the fact that she's in the cave.
Yeah. And that cave is so sacred.
Mm-hmm.
It's such sanctuary. It has no ego to take care of anybody else that shows up to take care of you, that you've got to give too much energy to say thank you for taking care of me. I know you need me to tell you thank you, but I ain't got to need you to tell you thank you.
Exactly. We laughed about that. So
Yeah. And so I would say I'm sitting at the cave door.
beautiful.
The entrance. And it's a good view. It's a good view.
With that, everybody, thank you for being with Sandy and I tonight. And happy Samhain, happy Day of the Dead, All Souls, All Saints, All Hallows. It's a sacred weekend. It's a good time to die and be reborn again. And live until you're not living anymore.
And then you'll be right back.
And then you'll be right back. This Saturday on All Hallows, we have a full blue moon in Taurus. And what a wonderful time for the ancestors to interact with us and for us to interact with our ancestors. And in some cases, even our own selves from times past. So with that, everybody, blessings to you. And Sandy, it was good to hear your voice from out of the cave.
Oh, my God. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Sam. Have a good night.
Boom.
Blessings be everybody.